fact that
I
the
like
biggest ones can weigh
turtles.
200, 300.
Hood nature, let's go, baby. Hey, 4 animals that will co-sign your obituary. All right, yo, this is about to be a banger-ass video. I can already tell. I can literally already tell. 13 and a half minutes, too. Not bad, not bad. Let's go, baby.
So if you've been paying attention to these videos, you probably have a good idea of what animals you'd have to worry about if you ever got airdropped into the wild.
Yeah, like
and if
hippos,
there was a vote, there are just some animals that
rhinos,
would easily make the Hood Nature Hall of
the
Fame.
big ones,
Just
right?
off the top of my head, you would have the African homicide horse, or as normal people call it, the hippo. You'd have the steroid Garfield that has a vice grip for a mouth. And of course, we can't forget the biggest op of all, the sea panda. But there are some animals that don't get nearly enough credit for how mean they are and how fast they can put your autobiography in the history section. And some animals you'd swear were designed with the specific intention of making life difficult for everyone else. Especially one of the animals on this list. So because this is my life now and I accept that, I'm going to give you 4 animals that are bigger menaces than you think and are way more dangerous than the average person is prepared for.
Here we go.
Starting off, hey, no shade to lions at all, but there's a reason if you Google who's the real king of the jungle, you'll get a jaguar's mugshot.
Jaguar, baby. Fuck
nature as
yeah.
you can get. They're the world's 3rd most brolic big cats, and since they can tip the scales at over 200 pounds, only lions and tigers are in a higher weight class. They can run at speeds of 50 miles per hour, climb trees almost as well as leopards, and they can body you on land or in water. They also have pound for pound the nastiest bite of any big cat and probably the most brutal way of turning you into a history lesson. Because unlike all other big cats, jaguars use that 1,100 pound per square inch snare trap of a mouth to disable their prey, and they do it by penetrating their teeth through the skull and eventually piercing the brain.
Jesus,
now,
we watched that last video.
Camouflage and some of them are black, meaning a jaguar could take your life before you even had time to realize it was in danger. But this is not a jaguar video, because jaguars have a very unlikely enemy. And no, it's not these psychotic river weasels. Now, in an earlier video, I did mention that a gang of otters could successfully G-check a jaguar. But in the cat's defense, getting pressed by a hood of water wolverines that can each grow to 6 feet long would humble any apex predator. But anteaters have no business being in the ring with a cat that literally factory resets.
Because of their claws,
If you've never seen a giant anteater before, you probably wouldn't be afraid. You'd probably wonder why God put a face on a feather duster and said, "Let there be life." But the giant anteater is affected with something I like to call rhinoceros syndrome, and the symptoms are simple. Giant anteaters are pretty much legally blind. They can get by in their sense of smell, but unless you're literally right in its face, they can barely differentiate you from a tree. Having terrible eyesight in a world where this can be your neighbor is why this 7-foot furry vacuum has massive trust issues. But instead of glasses, giant anteaters have a pair of claws that can rip through concrete and put a jaguar in a box.
Because they tear through
have no choice but to choose first degree, and if they had thumbs, they'd probably play World of Warships. World of Warships is a team-based, strategy-centric sea battle that's free to play and available on PC. The game.
Yo, that was a clean transition. Good shit, man. Yo, good shit. I'm about to skip this, but yo, guys, go play World of Warships, yeah?
A few Frenches because it can get very cutthroat, just like an anteater. Because those switchblades for fingers can destroy termite mounds as strong as concrete and also tear your throat open with one swing.
As strong as concrete.
Why I spend so much time going on about jaguars when they're not even one of the 4 animals of this video. Well, 1, runtime. I need those mid-rolls.
Nice.
Morningstar Farm.
And the ads, you know what I'm saying? Need them ads, exactly what he was talking about. Yeah, I'll watch it, but it'll be muted. You know what I'm saying? I'll watch it and give you your couple cents, but it's gonna be muted.
But really, it's because as strong as jaguars are, they'll often hesitate to attack and often be sent running by an animal that looks like it could be bought at a Dollar Tree. Because even a murder weapon with whiskers knows that one swing and connect from a motivated giant anteater could connect you to God's Wi-Fi. Especially since the giant anteater has a secret weapon that you probably didn't even realize. Giant anteaters have a long, bushy tail that they can use as an umbrella when it gets too sunny or as a blanket when it gets too cold. But if you're a jaguar looking for takeout, that big fluffy tail can make it difficult to tell which end is the head. And guessing the wrong end is a good way to be left behind as a thing of the past, whether you're a jaguar or a human. That is right, this 7-foot of steel wool has human bodies under its belt.
Really?
Once in Brazil, a hunter cornered a giant anteater and the beast proceeded to slash his thigh, severing his femoral artery and punching his ticket to the afterlife. Giant anteaters pretty much walk on their knuckles. That way their claws are as sharp as they need to be once they actually have to use them.
That's insane.
And remember, because they have poor eyesight, their first response is usually violence. In 2007, a zookeeper lost her life after being severely mauled by an anteater in an attack that slashed her stomach open.
Jesus
Fun fact,
Christ.
if you ever see an anteater do this, it's not an invitation of affection. It's the last one you get before they start swinging.
Fucking out. He said, ah! Hell no, monkey ass. Why is that person so close? That motherfucker was right on his ass, dude. Oh my god.
Now, to be fair, when you share an area code with nonsense like this, you have to treat everything equally as a threat. Zebras are exactly that, but on steroids. Thanks to the generational trauma of lions, hyenas, crocodiles, wild dogs, and each other. Trust me, I'll explain that later. These Oreo donkeys are one of the most homicidal animals that no one ever expects.
Really?
Google what animal causes the most injuries to zookeepers and you might just get this panda pony's headshot. Cause zebras, especially the males, are aggressive, possessive, territorial, and worst of all, unpredictable. Now add the fact that the heaviest ones can weigh 900 pounds with a kick that can shatter your ribs and a bite that can leave you with less hands than you started with, and you'll see why zebras are unironically one of the most vicious things zookeepers ever have to deal with.
Holy
There's a reason
shit.
we never domesticated them, and it's cause they're just assholes with stripes. This barcode horse is actually closer related to wild donkeys than to horses.
What?
So when a zebra's being an ass, it's because it's literally in his blood. And out of all the species of prison ponies,
They're closer to
it's the
donkeys
than
than horses.
On sight. Once at the National Zoo in DC, a gravy named Jumu attacked and bit a chunk out of one of his keepers.
What?
Reason?
He bit a chunk out of him.
Well, if he had one, he didn't tell anybody. The attack
Well, no
was apparently
shit.
so brutal that one of the Damas gazelles that witnessed it freaked out, ran full force into a wall, and proceeded to snap its spine. Because he knew that not even witness protection could save him if Jomo decided to come for his life next. I've seen zebras kick the life points out of other animals for the
Oh
simple
my
crime
God,
of
that was a
existing too
zebra.
close to them.
That was
That
a
is
zebra kicking
nothing
that.
compared to how they treat each other. Male zebras will run the ones with each other for a chance to earn a harem of females of their own. These heated discussions can end up crippling the loser, basically making it a hot pocket for the first pride of lions or clan of hyenas to catch it. And as you'd expect from an animal dressed in black and white, zebras stand for equality, meaning equal rights and equal fights. If a male sees a
Equal
pregnant
rights and
female, he'll
equal
repeatedly
fights.
attack her until a pregnancy gets terminated, and these attacks often involve his penis. Getting put in a special victims unit causes the female zebra to release hormones. Hormones that cause the body to either reabsorb the fetus or straight up miscarry. But what if the baby's already born? You won't like the answer, and neither will he.
He's gonna.
Surprisingly, a lot of male animals, the zebra will personally erase any children that didn't come from, well, his. And some of these attempts involve drowning the zebra full, all while the mother desperately tries to save her
Oh
baby.
my fucking
Zebras
God,
have a dark side that
bro.
has nothing to do with their stripes and everything to do with their purely homicidal tendencies. And just like with
I
lions,
hate
once a new male
zebras.
takes
I
control of the
officially
harem,
hate zebras.
His first order of business involves Casey Anthonying any babies his previous leader might have left behind. All of that aside, zebras are a textbook example of a victim gaining power and becoming the
Oh
bully.
my fucking
Zebras are just
God.
fundamentally f***ed up animals built on roid rage and the pain of generational evisceration.
Yo, fucking
This isn't to make you hate
zebras.
zebras, but to remind you that if Racing Stripes were accurate, it'd go from a comedy to a snuff film with disrespectful quickness. You can't trust
It
them.
wasn't supposed to make me hate zebras, but motherfucker, I dislike them now. Like, hello?
An animal born with its own prison jumpsuit. You also can't trust any animal born with an Australian area code. Especially since almost everything down there is evolved to evict your soul in some of the most creative ways
Evolved
possible.
to
See this
evict
kangaroo in the
your
water?
soul.
It's because their defense mechanism involves leading predators to large bodies of water so they can attempt a reverse baptism. This
No
flightless
way.
bird has daggers for feet that can disembowel you with one kick. Not even platypus are safe because males are armed with a venomous spur that can release toxins more powerful than morphine. Which means not only can real life Perry put you in a hospital, it can cause excruciating pain that lasts months. But the thing with these animals is they're pretty hard to miss. Which is why these are not the animals you should be most afraid of in Australia. Because out of all the nonsense nature uploaded to the land,
Bruh, he'll mention a bunch of things that are fucked up and you'll be like, yeah, they're not even on the list, bruh. Just so you know, they're not even there.
down under, this fish might be the most blatant middle finger
Oh,
to
this is
us.
the one that you step on, right? You step on.
The stonefish gets its name because if it doesn't move, it can be impossible to tell apart
Yeah.
from any other rock in the ocean.
I've seen
Which
this
would
one.
be fine, if nature didn't also go and make it one of the most venomous things in the ocean.
Yes.
This murder guppy has a set of dorsal spines that when threatened will extend up. If you accidentally step on it, those dorsal spines will penetrate your skin like a hypodermic needle and inject you with a venom called verrucotoxin. All this from a
The
fish that cosplays as a fucking
verrucotoxin.
stone. Most venomous and poisonous animals flex bright colors to warn possible enemies that touching them is RSVP
And this
to the
motherfucker
cloud
just
cookout.
blends in.
Poison dart frogs and coral snakes have their own gang colors for this reason. So having the most venomous fish on the planet also look like a pet rock is one of the biggest dick moves nature ever pulled. Not only can stepping on it threaten your entire way of life, those spines can shoot through the soles of most shoes.
Oh my God.
Once you've been stung, the countdown's already started. If not
It
treated, the
should-
verrucotoxin can cause crippling pain and difficulty breathing, escalating all the way to convulsions and paralysis. If you're lucky enough to be in the water when the paralysis hits, then you get to experience the
Yo,
worst
I
and
don't
final symptom of them all.
fuck with
Oh
that.
yeah, and the harder you
This is
step, the more
I'm
venom
just gonna
gets pumped into
stay
your body.
inside the
Once
rest
the
of my
venom's
life.
inside you, it inhibits nerve
Like,
impulses, which is why
fuck
it gets harder
that,
and harder
bruh.
for you to
This
breathe.
shit is...
And just for the record, out of all the animals this dude's been around, it was actually a stonefish that brought him closest to retirement from life. And because Australia, this hellspawn with gills can actually survive out of water for up to 24 hours.
What?
But if I'm being
So we
honest
can
here, the
just
chances
be
of you
vibing
being
outside?
turned into a hashtag by this fish are very, very low. But that's only thanks to anti-venom. Because again, since it's so easy to mistake this fish for a rock,
One,
seriously, there's
two.
4 of them in this picture. Stonefish anti-venom is the second most administered
two.
in all of Australia. It would be number
The
1
second
if the
most.
redback spider wasn't a thing. And to add insult to excruciating, incapacitating agony, The stonefish doesn't even use its venom to hunt the way the blue ring octopus does. Between that and the
It
fact
just
that,
eats
again,
things whole.
it looks like a fucking inanimate object, there's almost no reason for this poisonous pet rock to be this toxic. Being that good at not being seen, but punishing people for not seeing you with venom that you probably didn't even need in the first place is why I can confidently say the stonefish is the most Australian thing alive. It's like choosing invisibility as a superpower, but then emptying a clip on someone for accidentally stepping on your foot. It's a level of evolutionary dickery that unfortunately can be found in shallow tropical waters all around the
Evolutionary
world.
dickery.
If there's one thing we know, it's chicken.
It's chicken is fucking amazing, bro.
A zebra is scientifically closer to being an ass than an actual horse. I meant that in terms of zebras sitting closest to donkeys in the Equus family reunion, and in terms of donkeys being infinitely tougher than people ever give them credit for. All jokes aside, donkeys are really just some hood horses. The reason donkeys are known for being stubborn is because they have a higher affinity towards self-preservation, which is just my stuck-up way of saying,
Wait,
like
what?
zebras, the trauma of being constantly hunted has made donkeys more cautious, less trustful, and more likely to kick your chest in. Of course, a donkey
okay.
can be a great companion, but only when you've earned its trust. But if there's one animal a donkey will never trust, it's anything that looks even remotely like a dog. Not only will donkeys defend themselves, they've been known to clap coyotes and then play with their ragdoll of a corpse.
Bro, what?
Yes, they hate them that much. As a rancher, if you had to choose between a 20-gauge shotgun and a donkey, you're better off
It
choosing
just
the horse
fucks
within
him
the
up
Boulder
and then
complex.
plays with
'Cause
his
you don't have to
body?
reload a donkey, them boys is always on go. Their prejudice towards the entire canine race means
Oh
donkeys
my
will often
God.
instinctively protect livestock from cannons like coyotes, foxes, and wild dogs. And by protect, I mean they'll
Well,
river
that's
dance on a
cool,
dog's
but what happens when your pet dog comes around and that dog's just like, oh, well, fuck. You know? Like,
body and then bite and throw them around until they eventually break something that can't be fixed.
bro, that's insane.
One reason donkeys are
dude.
basically Black Air Force affiliated horses because horses are typically pack animals that rely on each other. Wild donkeys are often solitary and territorial, meaning they only got themselves.
Solitary.
And of course, you don't have to be a dog to get handed to hooves. Donkeys will put humans in check if they feel like they need to.
I'm about to hop into this cage with this donkey. Hold this.
What? Oh, this guy's about to get
telling you.
fucked.
A few moments later.
Get up. Get up!
Oh, dude, I can't. He's got me.
Here, grab this.
Help
Hey,
me out.
Pepper!
But of course, donkeys don't just stop at
I don't even know what to say for that one, man. Like,
people and dogs.
I want to feel bad for the guy, but he really said that he was about to fuck up the donkey, so...
Upon a time, a full-grown male donkey allegedly kicked the life points out of a young, inexperienced grizzly bear. When ranchers eventually found the
wait,
bear's
what?
body, its ribs were broken, one of its legs was fractured at the shoulder, and its jaw might as well have been made of porcelain the way it got shattered. And of course, there was that one time a donkey reminded a hyena that she ain't sweet just because he left the trenches, because apparently the crime of just looking like a dog is enough to get the smoke. Because if we're being honest, donkeys are just honey badger horses, and you're not going to change my mind about it. Eeyore was never
Honey
depressed,
badger
it's just that he had to be
horses.
constantly reminded of the war crimes he committed. If you take one thing away from this video, donkey giving a whole dragon a deep dish treatment makes more sense than you realize.
Nah, take one thing away from the video. Donkeys are fucked up, so are zebras. Don't trust, like, the horse animals.
Bro was genetically
They're hunted, right? So then they gotta, like, redistribute all that built-up anger from being fucking hunted all the time, man.
sequence different. And that's 4 animals that nobody ever expects but will airdrop you to the gulag. If you like this video and this content for some reason, the link to my Patreon is going to be in the description. Becoming a patron gives you access to videos that he had to be genetically. My Patreon is going to be
This is definitely the coolest one out there, the anteater, but, I mean, shit, all 4 of them are pretty fucked up, man.
in the description. Though.
Yeah, go subscribe to his Patreon, too. Make sure to do
I'm
that.
not asking you. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Subscribing costs you nothing, but not subscribing might just cost you your non-vital organs. Alternatively,
True.
subscribe or I'll send a giant anteater to your address and let him decide what happens next.